Hello everyone, welcome. Today in this video, I would discuss why Hong Kong Convention came into existence, everything that you need to know about it, and its ratification status. So let's get started. After the commercial life of a ship is over, recycling of ship is vital for reusing the vast resources it still holds, like iron, machinery, etc. They are still very valuable. Recycling is a very commercial process, and obviously, ship owners would want maximum profit out of it. But the process is dangerous, it is labor intensive and expensive. Thus, recycling is popularly done in Asia, and India is the biggest recycling hub. However, there is a downside to providing cheap services. It is said that roughly one person dies every day in these recycling facilities, and environmental damage that is caused is also phenomenal. Thus, the need for regulation on safe and environmentally sound recycling of these ships led to the creation of the Hong Kong Convention by IMO. The goal was clear: to establish global standards for ship recycling and to ensure that it was carried out in a way that prioritized safety and environmental protection. Now, to help you remember, I want you to imagine that you are the owner of a recycling facility. You have been noticing deaths of laborers in your facility because of poisoning, explosion, etc. Because laborers were just not aware what will happen if they were just cutting this bulkhead. They have been doing it all the time. This time, there was an explosion. Also, you may have noticed that the sea has lost its beauty in your area. A lot of animals have been dying. Deep within, you know that you have been causing a loss to the environment, but you are helpless because you need to survive in this business by bringing cheap services. Now, you are being asked to design a convention that can change all that and still lets you flourish in your business. What do you think would logically work for you and the ships? So, on the top of your mind, you would probably want to ban certain things, at least on the new ships, because these substances could be very difficult to handle. You may also have a list with you. These substances, very difficult to dispose, very dangerous to the environment, difficult to handle, difficult for the workers. Please ban them on the new ships. You would probably want to give them the list of these items and also ask the ship if these things are fitted on the ship when the ship was created, during the operation, or perhaps some spares were delivered on board that contains things like these. Then you want a list of all that. That way you would guide your workers to take special precautions to remove them first. Anything else? What else comes to your mind? Yeah, you may expect some regulations in your yard. Well documented planning to be done after receiving the details from the ship, workers to be given proper PPE, ships to be verified and certified safe for cutting, etc. But while saying all this, it may come to your mind, what's the point if the facility next to me is not following any of this? I am only increasing my cost. What if the ships which are coming to my yard are giving me records which are just fake? Thus, a certification process should be developed and made compulsory for the ships. If they want to operate worldwide, they should maintain an inventory throughout their life. And if any changes are happening, they should inform and get it endorsed on the certificate and maintain it. And if anything changes in their structure or in their inventory, that should be updated on the list regularly. And further, if my facility is a bit more expensive but following better practices, then it should be given preference by ship owners. So, mostly I would say, if these terms are logically satisfied, then the convention could be practical. So, now let me show you the real convention, and let's see if the framers of the constitution agree with your logic. If you want to get into the detail, it can be downloaded online. It's called SR/Conf/45. So, conference number 45, ship recycling. So, coming directly to article number 17, for this convention to come into force, the three conditions must be satisfied. First, 15 states should ratify it, sign it without any reservation. The combined merchant fleets of the state should not be less than 40% of the gross tonnage of the world's merchant shipping. And finally, the combined annual recycling volume of the states during the preceding 10 years constitutes not less than 3% of the gross tonnage of the combined merchant shipping of the same states. Now coming straight to the convention. So chapter 1 is general provisions, regulation 1 definitions, regulation 2 general applicability, regulation 3 is relationship with other standards, recommendation and guidance. Because it was done for the workers, thus guidance developed by International Labour Organization was also involved in this, and guidance developed by Basel Convention on the control of transboundary movement of hazardous waste and their disposal was included in this. And now coming to your logics and requirements for the ship, chapter 2. So regulation 4 is about control of ship hazardous material. As you said, some of the items should be banned, and you had also given a list of that, and same list has been made an appendix here. In accordance with the requirements specified in appendix 1 to this convention, each party shall prohibit or restrict the installation of hazardous material listed in appendix 1. Regulation 5 is your second point that you had raised. If you cannot ban certain items, then you must list them, make an inventory on board the ship and keep updating it. Point number 3 and 4 says, part 1 of the inventory of hazardous material shall be properly maintained and updated throughout the operational life of the ship, reflecting any new installation that was covered by you. Then number 4 says, prior to recycling, inventory shall, in addition to properly maintained and updated part 1, incorporate part 2 for operationally generated waste. Makes sense, you had also talked about it. Then part 3 for stores. And this should be either verified by the administration or by a person or an organization authorized by it, thus taking care of your reservations that what if a fake list is given to you. Then quickly passing through the other regulations which I don't consider very important or useful to you, but you may go through them as I'm sharing, and just holding on for 1 second, you may take a screenshot. Ship recycling plan. So a ship specific recycling plan shall be developed by the ship recycling facility prior to any recycling of ship. So this is what you are saying, that as you have been given a list, you can make a plan for it. Things that can be removed safely prior, you should do that. Finally, the survey and certification part. Ships to which this convention applies shall be subject to survey, initial survey, renewal survey. And as usual, the certificate is valid for 5 years. Any additional survey is required if there are changes, and of course a final survey before the recycling of the ship has started, thus ensuring that everything will be up to date. Whatever information as a ship recycling facility owner you need, you will be given. Then issuance of certificate endorsement, of course by administration or by someone authorized by them, like an RO. Forms of certificate, regulation 13, as usual, English, French and Spanish must be there. Now this was the requirement for the ships. Now chapter 3 covers the requirement for the ship recycling facilities. So in this, regulation 15 covers the control on ship recycling facilities, that the administration should form rules for the recycling facilities so that there is a standard condition maintained all over the facilities in their region. Regulation 16 talks about the authorization of ship recycling facilities. 17 talks about the general requirement. 18 talks about the ship recycling facility plan. 19 talks about the prevention of adverse effect on human health and environment. 20 talks about safe, environmentally sound management of hazardous material. 21 talks about the emergency preparedness and response. And if you go through all this, it's very similar to any other convention, that the administration checks a certain facility and makes sure the design is good, that their planning is good, workers are given proper PPE, and the risk assessment is being carried out, all the dangers have been considered, all the dangerous material, how they are going to handle, their plans are already made. Covering all that, including workers' safety and training, we come to the appendix. Appendix 1 is control of hazardous environment, the material which is absolutely banned or prohibited on the new ships, and wherever they are, it should be mentioned in the part 1 of the list, which includes asbestos, ozone depleting substances, polychlorinated biphenyls, anti-fouling compounds in system. And appendix 2 contains the minimum list for the inventory of hazardous material. Then further, it gives you how the certificate would look like. Form of the international certificate on inventory of hazardous material. Appendix 4 contains form of the international ready for recycling certificate. This certificate is issued just before the ship is being sent for recycling. Further, the appendix 5 contains the form for the authorization of ship recycling facility. So even the ship recycling facility would be given this certificate. And there are provisions for regular audits of the ships and especially the facilities. Now the certificate would also include detail whether a particular facility is capable of handling certain dangerous and hazardous material like this. And with this, we come to the end of the convention. I hope it made sense to you. Everything is as you had designed. So congratulations, you are absolutely right. Now the next question is, India being the biggest recycling hub in the world, has it ratified it yet? And the answer is yes. India ratified Hong Kong Convention on 28th November 2019. And with this, the Hong Kong Convention will come into force on 26th June 2025. Giving you a quick recap, Hong Kong Convention has 3 chapters: general provisions, requirement for ships, requirement for ship recycling facilities, then Appendix 1 containing the prohibited material, Appendix 2 containing the minimum list of items for the inventory of hazardous materials, then Appendix 3 is giving the forms of the certificate, Appendix 5 is form of the authorization of the ship recycling facility, and Appendix 6 is form of report of planned start of ship recycling. I hope it was a useful video for you. In my next video, I will make a comparison of Hong Kong Convention and European Union ship recycling regulation. What is the difference and why did it come into existence? I hope this was a useful video for you. If you have any comments, please do write down below. And as always, thank you for watching.